Hello guys, and welcome back to this channel. My name is Miranda and you are welcome. Here we do sewing related content, and this morning I just want to show you quickly how to thread an overlocker or a serger, as it is known in other places, especially for the newbies, or even if you've been sewing for a while but you've just not had the opportunity to learn how to thread an overlocker. So I'm just going to take you step by step and show you how that is done. My overlocker is a Singer brand. I'm just going to tilt the camera so that we can see the machine. So this is the overlocker that we're going to be threading. I'm going to set up the camera so that you can follow step by step, but this is a Singer serger. It is a Singer 14SH754. So that is the brand, and most of these sergers or these machines actually work almost in a similar way. So the threads will go almost they'll follow a certain order. Even if you were to, for example, thread the sewing machine, most of it you find that the process is similar. So you might not have exactly a sewing machine like this. I would advise you to look at the manual, and if you have bought, let's say, a second-hand or a used machine, you can try to Google that brand and look at what is recommended for your machine. So I hope that this is going to be a helpful tutorial for you. Let's get threading. Okay, so here is our overlocker. This is our Singer serger, and you can see it has 4 threads. So this is a 4-threader. You can, however, thread with 3 threads, but this is a 4-threader. Just tilting the camera there so you can see. And then you see we have the loops where the thread must go in. So I'm just going to open there's this part here at the bottom. I'm just going to open here so we can see. So you can see it's quite dusty in there, and I'm going to just clean a little bit before we start. However, I want to cut the threads so that you can see this was already threaded. So I'm going to cut loose the threads. I'm going to cut loose the threads so that you can see how it is done. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to come on top here. I don't know that you can see the 4 threads that are threaded into the overlocker, and I'm just going to chop those threads off, and I'm going to pull them to the bottom. Okay, so let's just chop them off like that. I'm going to close this. I just close back this compartment here, and what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to come to the side here and pull this thread while I'm pressing on the pedal. Okay, so here you can see the thread because the machine was already threaded. So we are going to pull this by pressing the footer at the bottom so that we can remove these threads that were already in the machine that we chopped off. So before we can start, however, I need to show you where to switch on and off the machine, and I'm just going to tilt the camera so you can see. So by the side of the machine, of course, you have different buttons, okay, and I'll show you how they operate. But for now, we just want to switch on the machine because currently it's off. Okay, so I'm just going to press like that, and you can see the power light coming on. So you put it off and on from there, and then I'm just going to now pull on the thread while I'm stepping on the footer, and then just pull that thread off. Okay, so I'll continue. Okay, so this is the thread that we had that was threaded in the machine at that time. So we've managed to unthread the overlocker. Okay, and now we're going to go step by step to see how do you thread this machine. Okay, so here we have our overlocker, which we have already unthreaded, and we had opened this compartment. It is quite dirty, so I just use a brush. You know what I use? I take my old makeup kit and I just take a brush out of there, because the brushes that come with the machine are very small. Let's see if I have it here. They are very small for you to reach the corners there. So I just use this one of these to just reach as far as I can go and just remove those pieces of fabric and all the dirt that you find there before threading it. Yeah. So just clean it. There's some clog there, so just clean those quickly before I can thread, and then we'll be good to go. I also have here this is oil, which you can use to oil the moving parts of your overlocker. So we'll do that another day. I'll show you how to oil, but you just drop a small drop, or you know, few drops, or yeah, to oil your machine, especially the moving parts. So these are the parts of the machine that you need to know. And like I had said, I turn this to the side, and then below there we have the power on off, and of course we have the feed to the power source. You just unplug it and plug it in, and then these two buttons help you regulate the width and the length of the stitches of your machine. And of course this is where you lower your needles from. Okay, so those are just the basic parts. Now I want us to concentrate on the threads themselves and then understand how we are going to thread. You can see we have the different colors. I'm not sure that you can see this clearly. Let me try to bring the machine closer, okay, so that you can see. So you can see we have yellow, we have red, green, and blue. So all these threads are represented. Okay, so now we are going to start threading our overlocker. And up here I want you to see the thread. So we have 4 threads, like I said, and we're going to start threading from the second thread. And when you look here, when you come to this area, you have these 4 dials or dials that we have, and they are color coded. So we have, the first one is yellow and red, green, blue. So this is the lower looper, this is the upper looper, right needle, left needle. On this machine you always start threading the upper looper, which is the second dial from here. So meaning we'll start threading with this thread. I don't know that it's visible, I hope you can see it. We're going to start threading, and when you come down here, remember we opened this chest here where we were cleaning the inside. You can see that there is kind of a map here that shows you where each thread should go through. All the threads have got guides in the machine where they should go through. Okay, so here we are going to start with the upper looper, and here it is numbered 1. Okay, so we're going to thread that one, then we're going to thread the lower looper, which is number 2, and then we're going to thread the right needle and then the left needle. And all of these have got marks. So if you see number 2 here, let me try to bring the camera quite close so that you can. Okay, so here we are. I think it's a clearer map of the threads. So we're going to start with the red thread, which is the upper looper, and we're going to follow all the guides there that are indicated. So you can see when you look at your overlocker, when it's opened, you can see all these red dots that are showing. You can also see the yellow dots. So the red dots are for the upper looper, the yellow dots are for the lower looper. And when you thread, you make sure that the upper looper thread is going through all these dotted guides so that you thread it properly. Okay, so let's go. So this is one of the threads. This is the thread for the upper looper. I just removed it so I show you how to put it in. So this is the thread, okay, that we're going to be using. Let me bring it closer. Okay, so you just place your thread here, okay, and then you just pass it through this loop, okay, like this, and there you have it. Okay, so here we have our thread, and now we want to start threading. So at the back here we have a loop. It's the first loop that your thread will go into. Let me bring the camera here. So there are loops here. Okay, so at the back of your overlocker, just at the behind here, there are loops in which your thread must go in. So the very first loop, you'll get it at the back there. It's just to help you balance the thread as it goes into the overlocker. Okay, so I'm just going to turn the camera so you can see the loops where you start passing your thread into. Okay, yeah, so let's do that now. Okay, so I hope you can see those loops. You just thread your thread. It should go around that loop. There are 4 of them because there are 4 threads. You pass it, hook it, and then bring it to the front. Okay, so we have our thread. It's gone through that first loop. Okay, we're starting with the upper looper, which is the second from the beginning there. So we're starting with the second one. It has gone through this loop, and we're going to take it behind that hook that I showed you. So I'm just going to make sure that it has gone in there. Okay, and once that is done, I want to bring it here in between the dials, there, so that you don't have issues with tension. Okay, so those are your tension discs. Make sure it has gone through, and once it has gone through, just below here is the second hook that it needs to go in through. Make sure it has gone in, and then we're going to follow these red dots. Remember I spoke about the red dots. Let me lower the camera so you can see. I spoke about these guides that you have that are indicated on the overlocker. So we follow the red dots, so it should go in there, and then from there it will go in here, and then we're going to go in there. Okay, so I hope you can see that. I forgot to mention you will need a tweezer to help you thread. So you can use this to go through in that dial. So we've just gone through this dial. Now we need to go through this one here. Okay, it has hooked in here. Then we need to go into this one. Okay, so there are those indicators that show you the way where you should. So we have gone through here, we've gone through here, we've gone through here. Now we need to hook it here, and you can use this dial to position it, you see. So we want it to go through this eye here. Hope you can see there's a small eye here where the thread must go in. Okay, so I'm just going to use my tweezer, hold the thread with the tweezer like this, and just try to hook it there, and there it is. I'll just push it to the back, goes to the back. Okay, yay, we've just threaded our first thread there, which is the upper looper. Then we're going to thread the lower looper, which is this yellow, which is the first thread. Now we're going to start with the first thread, so it will go through that hook at the back, and then we're going to bring it here in front. Okay, so let's do that now. So I'm just going to make sure that it has gone through that loop. Okay, it has gone through that loop, and I must bring it in between the dials. Okay, it must be properly put in the dials so that you don't have tension issues. So the first guide that we have now, let us go back to our dots. I hope you can see. So then the first guide with a yellow dot is this one. So this thread, just hold it with this, and then you can pass it through that first guide. So it has gone through the first guide. Then we have another one at the bottom here. I hope you can see it. This bottom guide here, it must go through there. So you can just hold your thread and then guide it in there. Okay, and then the next one, there is another one just next to it, this one. Hope you can see that dot there. So there is a hook, make sure it goes through. Okay, so now here I'm just going to turn this machine. When we turn the machine here, I hope that you can see it better. Okay, so when we have gone through this hook, there is another, I don't know that you can see. Let's put this one on. You see this eye, where this thing goes, there is a hook that is on the inside there for this lower looper. So it must go through there, otherwise you will have issues and it will not stitch. Okay, so what I normally do is I try to play around with the hooks, and what I do is just to, before we go to that one, there is this other yellow mark here. I don't know that you can see this one. I missed that one, so it must also hook in there. It must hook in there, in that guide. So now it's hooked, and then it must go. There is a hook there at the other end, there, where you have this eye, where it ends, there is another hook for the yellow thread or for the lower looper to go through. So you just, what I normally do is I just pass this around. I pass it around this and I pull it using the help of the tweezer, and I push it all the way. Until it has gone into that hook. This is the one I don't like threading. Okay, so when the thread keeps on coming back like this, is because it hasn't really gone into that hook. Okay, so you can see it's still hanging here. You can see, so it is supposed to go all the way. There is a hook at the far end. I don't think I can capture it with the machine, but I will try as much as possible. Yeah, so I think it has gone in. So you just push it around or at the back of this eye, push it all the way until it has clicked in a hook there, and then now you bring it, and we're going to thread through this eye. Okay, we're just gonna thread through that eye, and then we'll thread the 2 needles. Okay, so this is why you need a tweezer, because it's otherwise very difficult to maneuver this with your fingers, because it's very tiny spaces. So again, you pass this at the back. It should be at the back. Okay, so we have our 2 threads. The upper looper and the lower looper have been threaded. Make sure that they have gone through the guides. There is this guide here that was missed. Okay, so we've gone through that, and then we're going to thread the needles now. Okay, so we have threaded the upper looper and the lower looper. Now we're going to thread the 2 needles. So the green one, which is the first one, is the right needle, and so you come to the 3rd thread that you have there. It also must be hooked at the back, so I'm just going to make sure it has been hooked nicely there. Okay, and again, it must come through the dials nicely, the tension discs. Make sure it's properly hooked in there, and again, you will have the guides that are showing you. So this is the 2nd one that it must come through. After this hook, it must come through the discs, and then it comes through this. There is a guide here. Not sure that you can see it here. There is a guide here through which it must come in, so you just hook it there and you follow the green. Remember that map I showed you here? You follow the green, so it will come here and go into the green area, and then we are threading the left needle. Okay, the left needle, no, the right needle. So when it has gone in there, then you must loop it here. Just use your tweezers and to put it in that hook. You can use your hand if you're okay with it. So just loop it this way. Okay, it has been hooked, and the next thing is to just thread the needle. You need to thread the needle. I'm still going to use I just want to make sure that the needle guide is down. Okay, yeah, so I just use this to thread the right needle in there. You can use the automatic needle threader, but I'm just going to use this manual way. Okay, so we're just threading through the needle now, the right needle. So let me just chop off the edges. Okay, I think this is creating a distraction. Okay, so we've threaded the right needle, pull it to the back, make sure you can just lift this needle lever, put them all the threads under there, drop it, and now we have to thread the left needle. I see it got hooked there. Okay, so now we need to thread the last thread. Just hook it. It just came out in there, so I'm going to hook it again at the back first, bring it into the tension discs and go through. This is the first guide for this left needle, and it goes in that blue guide this way, and then we're going to thread the left needle. So just hook it in like that, and then we're going to thread it. Okay, just want to place the left needle. Okay, yeah, so now we're going to just thread the left needle. Let me do that. Yeah, you can thread the needle however you want, but I just find it easier to use a tweezer. Because there are very tight spaces in here through which you must pull. So we've managed to thread both needles. Just make sure that all the threads are under this lever here. There is a lever here. Okay, they must be under this lever. This one. Okay, so place them under, drop that lever. Okay, make sure everything is under there, and then we're going to close this section here that was opened as we were threading. Okay, just want to thread, and then you need to have like a sample, fabric sample, that you are going to test your machine to see if it's properly threaded. Believe me, if you have not threaded it properly, you've missed a hook somewhere, you will see it when you when you overlock here, it will give you some shenanigans. So you just lift this lever. There's a lever at the back here to lift the blades. Okay, drop the blades, and I'm just going to overlock a small piece to see how it is. Okay, make sure that the blades are actually chopping off something, because we're going to make them, you know, blunt. Okay, always leave a tail when you have overlocked, so that the next time you want to use it, it doesn't completely do what? Go off. So there is something wrong here. You can see that it was not properly looped somewhere, so you must go back to check what was wrong, because this is not, so you can see here even from the front, you see, so probably maybe one of the needles unthreaded itself, or one of, so yeah, I can see here. Let me bring the camera close. Okay, I hope you can see. So you can see the left needle has unthreaded itself somehow. It's not hooked, it's not threaded in the needle there. So you can see it's a loose thread here. No wonder the stitch was somehow. So you can see this loose stitch here, or the loose thread rather. So I'm going to thread the needle again and try the sample once more. So the left needle unthreaded itself. Okay, so I'm just going to thread it again, and then we're going to try that sample once more. So I'm just going to use my tweezer to thread that needle again. You can use a needle threader for this, but I'm just gonna do it manually. Come on, let's go. Okay, there we go. So I've threaded it, and I'm just pulling it to the back of the machine. Yeah, and I'm going to lift the lever at the back and make sure all the threads are under that lever. Okay, drop the lever for now. So this is our sample, and we're going to feed this again into the overlocker. I'm just going to close here. So we're going to try this again. Okay, fingers crossed. Okay, so just make sure the lever is down. Okay, now here we go. Okay, there's a thread there. Okay, always make sure to leave a tail for easy use when you come next time. So I think this is a better outcome, and this is how you thread your machine, your overlocker. And maybe I should do another video just to show you all the parts, how do you oil the machine, and then help you answer some questions. If there's something that you want me to clarify on how to thread your machine, let me know in the comment section. So thank you very much for watching until this far. I hope that this has been helpful to you. The next video probably I'll do on how to just oil the machine. I'm thinking also maybe of doing another one where we just kind of thread the sewing machine for our newbies. And yeah, so that's it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Have a pleasant day and week until I see you next time. Bye bye.